The Lazarus Effect. You've reached the Lazarus Effect. Do not adjust your speakers. You're on with your host, D-Laz. D-Laz. All right. That's enough of that. What's going on, everybody? This is my first podcast, and I have to admit, I am extremely nervous, but I'm glad that you guys decided to tune in. I'm going to make this live on my Facebook, so you guys, this is nice and public, so you can share it. And there's going to be a segment where I have you guys call in. I do have my own toll-free number in case you missed it. It's 1-833-4-DLAZ. And that's for you guys who can't really spell that good. Yes, I said spell that good. For you guys that can't really spell that good on your phone, it's 1-833-433-3529. Again, welcome to my very first podcast episode. I'm glad you decided to join me. This is going to be fun. There's a reason why I decided to name it The Lazarus Effect. Obviously, my last name is Lazarus. If you don't know by now, you should. If you don't know, now you know. Just like I said to a friend earlier, somebody that messed up and got me a microphone. Anyways, last name is D-Laz. So, last name is Lazarus. So I named it The Lazarus Effect because everything that I talk about is obviously going to have my own spin to it. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. That's why I went and set up that toll-free number. I want to hear from my audience. I want to argue with my audience. If you know anything about me, you know I'm good for a great debate. So basically that is what this particular episode is going to be about, introductions, being that I'm introducing myself to you. If you know anything about me via my social media, whether my Facebook, my Instagram, especially my Twitter, I'm highly political. Some would even call me militant, although I wouldn't refer to myself that way. I'm a sweetheart. I decided to do a podcast because, for one, I'm always being told I need my own show. As much as I love to debate people, I need my own talk show. I don't know if this is going to catapult me to Oprah status, but I hope so. Secondly, I saw one of the things that I learned when I was in college. Yes, I know I didn't finish, but look, I learned something while I was there. Look, when I was in college, we had to take a speech class. Everybody who knows anything about your first year at college, they make you take these crazy liberal arts classes, and one of them has to be speech class, where you have to learn how to speak in front of a crowd, even if you're not that type of person. And you have to learn about, different ways that people communicate. And one of the things that we learned was some of the greatest speakers aren't that great a speaker. For example, President Obama, we miss him. Okay. President Obama, who we miss very dearly, he was known as a great orator, but if you sat back and listened to him, which we had to do in that class, he's really not that great an orator. He stops with a lot of ers, he takes a lot of deep pauses, especially when he's really thinking about something, right? So I'm thinking to myself, if the one guy that's considered one of the best orators that we've ever had as far as presidents go, if he can have the central stage and talk to people with no problem, this guy that stops with then I could do it, right? Look, I'm comparing myself to all these great people, Obama, Oprah. Do you see a pattern? Anyways, so that's what today's show is about. Today is about introducing yourself. How do you feel when you introduce yourself? Honestly, I am what's known as an extrovert. So introductions are usually pretty easy to me. Following up after the introduction is a whole nother thing. If you know me personally, you know that I'm personable, but I'm not friendly, and there is a difference, and we'll get into that. But it's very easy for me to introduce myself to perfect strangers. It's easy for me to speak in front of crowds. That's not to say that I don't get nervous. I'm nervous now. But from what I've understood, even back when I took that speech class, back in college, I don't come across as nervous, even when I am. And so I think that's something that extroverts share. Us being, loud, boisterous, not afraid to go in front of crowds and speak to people. Now, I have quite a few friends, close friends of mine, that are the polar opposites of me when it comes to that. They consider themselves introverts. Like, they'll talk all day to me or personal friends or family members, but, stick them in front of strangers and they become a tree. They, just stiff and not saying anything. And it's not because they're not, good people or not, nice people. It's just that they're very awkward in those kind of situations. With me, one of the things that I go through, honestly, everybody thinks it's so easy to be an extrovert, but it's not. One of the things that I go through as an extrovert, and please, y'all out there, if you agree with me, please let me know. You can actually chat with me live if you'd like to via the link that I just posted up from Spreaker. But one of the things that I go through as a extrovert. Oh my goodness. No. Okay, I'm so sorry, you guys. I have a little bit of technical issue here. I'm fixing it as we speak. Okay, I'm going to leave this. All right, I was just trying to get the exact link so I can share it with you guys again. I'm so sorry I got thrown off. This is my first podcast, so please forgive me. What was I talking about? Oh, one of the things I go through as an extrovert, honestly, is sharing way too much information. When I first meet somebody, I don't know if you extroverts out there go through this, but it's like, when I was growing up, I remember my mom saying to me, there are two subjects that you don't talk to strangers about, and you definitely don't talk about it at work, and you don't talk about it on a date, and that's politics and religion. I have actually talked about those things when I just met someone. I'm like, hey, my name is Dion and I'm a Democrat. I'm liberal. How are you? I mean, it doesn't necessarily go just like that, but somehow I kind of, wedge it in there somewhere. And, it can be awkward, and it's funny because I can tell the other person is awkward, about whatever I just said. And then I get awkward because they're awkward, right? I'm also sharing this to my Lazarus Effect podcast page, so you guys can see it there as well. I don't expect a whole lot of listeners for my first podcast. This is a pretty light subject, but we will get into deeper things, and we'll talk about that a little later too. I got a whole hour to talk. I told you somebody done messed up and gave me a microphone, so so we are going to continue this conversation. First of all, one of the things that I meant to talk about when I first got on was why I decided to go live, as opposed to most podcasts where they just record it and then they do the nice little editing, chicka, 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 and then they post it to their RSS feeds, iTunes, SoundCloud, Pandora, Spotify, so on and so forth, right? And the reason I decided to go live is because I have always personally admired live shows. I would listen to, growing up, I would listen to the morning show, in New York. Everybody who knows me knows that's where I'm originally from, but I would listen to the morning show with Ed, Lisa, and Dre. Remember that? What's up, y'all? What you got to say? Who's on the phone with Ed, Lisa, and Dre? And I came up with a million rhymes to call in and rhyme my little rhyme. Hey, my name is Dee Dee and I'm from Brooklyn. I don't remember what I said, but I would do that, and I would try to call in and do my little rhyme on the radio. I never actually got through. And then the one time I got through, I think I was like 15 or 16 years old. I completely froze. I was like, I forgot what I was going to say, but I really like Ed, Lisa, and Dre. Hey, that rhyme, put it on the air. They didn't. So anyway, I've always admired live shows, dating back to that show all the way into present day. I'm glad Michael Baisden is back on the air. I listen to Michael Baisden. I've always loved the discipline that goes into creating a live show. Trust and believe this is not as easy as it looks. Like, getting the sound just right, doing sound check, figuring out where your special effects are, just, making sure you have an hour worth of things to talk about. Thank you, Calvin. Oh my God. He's got me over here blushing. Somebody said I'm doing great. Thank you, Calvin. I love the professionalism that goes into the live show. I think for one of the things I think, they're confined by FCC laws. They can't curse. They can't say certain things that might be extremely offensive. Whereas I can say whatever the fuck I want. Excuse my language, but I really can. And that's another thing you need to know about me, and you'll see it as we get into more heated topics. I have a potty mouth. It's okay if you guys have a potty mouth too. Just don't call my line cursing me out, because you will get, I can't even say the dial tone. We don't even have dial tones anymore, but you will get hung up on. So it's okay for you guys to call in. It's okay for you to have a different opinion than mine. In fact, that's what I kind of want. I'm looking forward to having those kind of debates. But don't get disrespectful. If you don't get disrespectful, I won't. So that's where we're going to be. Hey, bestie. My bestie's listening. Hey, Lay. Okay, so going back to why I decided to do a live show as opposed to recording it. Another reason is recordings, they're so perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I want to be like Obama. I want to do the and still make it sound cool. You know what I mean? Like I said, we learned in my communications class in college, he is considered a great orator, but by speech enthusiasts, he's not actually the greatest orator. He does do a lot of pauses and the ers and the ums, but there's something that is so perfect that comes from that. It's genuine, it's human, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be human. So I want you to see D-Laz for who she really is. I want you to hear the ers and the ums, and so I didn't want to Calvin, cut it out. He was awesome. He was an awesome orator. Calvin just said that Obama's ers and ums got on his nerve. But I didn't want to be perfect. I want you to see me for who I really am. I want, when you call in, I want, what you say to not be edited. I want the world to really hear how you feel. So that's part of the reason why I decided to do a live show as opposed to recording. Now, don't get me wrong. You will be able to still listen to my shows after they're finished. They will be shared on all my social media. Apparently now I'm on SoundCloud. I don't even know what SoundCloud does because I'm getting old and I can't keep up with these kids, but I'm on SoundCloud now. And I will be sharing my feeds to iTunes and I will be sharing my feeds to iTunes and Pandora and Spotify. So you will be able to listen in even if you missed my live show. Although I hope you don't, because I would love to hear from you. I read your chats, as you can see. And if you guys want to call in, don't call in yet because I'm still talking. Don't be rude. But if you want to call in, the number here is 833-4DLAZ. That's 1-833-4DLAZ. And I promise you, I still don't remember the number yet. Oh, there it is. Okay. 1-833-433-3529. Okay, I'm going to give that number out again later in the show, but I just wanted you guys to have that. Yeah, we all miss him. You know, he just kind of left us. You know, Obama, he gave us like the forehead kiss, you know, and just, he was like, you know, good luck. You know, I think for like the first 6 months he went on vacation out of the country. You know, I want to say, you know, he don't care about us no more. But we yeah, definitely, I agree, Duran, that it showed that Obama was thinking before he spoke. And it, you know, if you actually listen to stuff about body language, and believe it or not, those ers and us are right. Those ers and us and everything are part of not just our natural speech, but also it's a part of our body language, believe it or not. You know, when you do the ers and the us, you know, that is, I could definitely say that that's a sign of the person thinking about what they're going to say next. Now, believe it or not, that's also the sound of a liar, believe it or not. That's also the body language of a liar. But it's the ers and the ums along with them looking in another direction. So I don't know if you guys are into body language or anything, but that is one of the signs of lying. The ers and the ums and the looking in the other direction, because that means you're searching for an answer. Right? And Duran, I agree with you. He was like, deuces, I'm out this bitch. Good luck. I like that. That's exactly what it feels like. But he's I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but I think Apple Music is trying to court him and Michelle Obama to have their own kind of talk show, or I don't know if it's a podcast or a talk show. I shared a post about it a couple of weeks ago. If you Google it, I'm pretty sure you'll find something about it. I don't know if it's actually happening, but I hope it is. It was from a reputable news source. That's another thing we're going to talk about on another episode is fake news, quote unquote. Which, by the way, just add this little tidbit. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. But it's funny to me that the people that scream fake news are usually the ones that share a lot of fake news stories. You ever notice that? So, yeah. So, anyway, so back to what the original subject was. We're talking about introductions. Usually when I introduce myself, it's kind of like, hey, I'm Dion. Nice to meet you. Although for the purposes of this show, you could call me D-Laz if you're nasty, you know. But, you know, I usually introduce myself. I really have no problem divulging extremely personal information to total strangers. I think that's part of why I can be in this business, because I have a really high threshold for embarrassment. There's really not too much you can say to me or divulge about me that I'll be embarrassed about. You know, I always say, if you have any questions about me, it's Netflix. See, Calvin just corrected me. I think it's Netflix that's courting them to do a show, Michelle and Barack Obama. But you know, when I introduce myself to people, that's one of the things that I have to do is I have to rein it in. And that, I think, extroverts have a problem with that. We have a problem with divulging way too much information to people that we don't know. It can create a very awkward situation. I actually had this conversation with my bestie a couple of days ago. Like, we'll make a mistake and say something sexual in the first way of meeting somebody. Like, hey, your hand is really sweaty. Kind of reminds me of balls. Something crazy like that. And the person will stop and look at us like, really? Did you just say that? And it's like they're awkward, but then they laugh at the same time. You don't know if they're laughing, because it was funny or because you're just awkward as hell. I am definitely one of those awkward people. I will talk about politics. I will talk about religion when I first meet you. I will talk about something that might be really, really uncomfortable. And sometimes I wish I was more of an introvert. I wish I was more of a mystery. I especially find me feeling that way when I'm just starting to date someone. If you didn't know, now you will know. I am a very, very single as a dollar bill woman. I actually enjoy my singledom, by the way. I'm not like one of those sad single people. I'm a single mom of 2. And you've probably seen, if you follow me anywhere on Facebook, you probably see me post a gazillion pictures of my kids. Because they're freaking beautiful, man. But, speaking back to that point of being an introvert versus an extrovert, I sometimes wish I was an introvert. I wish I didn't divulge so much information when I first meet someone. I want to be able to have some kind of darkness around me, like, oh my God, what is she about? But I'm not like that. It's kind of like within the first 5 minutes, you know who I am. You kind of get a feel of the type of person I am right away. And how do you guys out there feel about that? I mean, have you ever met a woman like me? Like, I've always heard that I'm quote unquote aggressive. I don't really consider myself aggressive. I'm more of a little assertive. I'm kind of very straightforward about what it is that I want, what it is that I need. When it comes to just meeting someone, it's like, hi, my name is Deanna. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm 38 years old, and I like long walks on the beach and watching porn. Okay, no, I don't tell them I like watching porn. That's a lot for a first time. But like I said, this is me. I'm very out there. It's funny because I don't really attract a lot of extroverts. I attract, and this is just like girlfriends as well, like friends and just people on the street. I attract a lot of people that are the exact opposite of me, that are like shy and don't know what to say and awkward. And I am the loud one. I guess that thing is true about how opposites attract, right? So in a little bit, maybe in about 8 minutes from now, I'm going to open up the lines, for you guys to call in. And I have a specific, thing that I want y'all to talk about. I want you to tell me whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, and let me know how that affects your dealings with people. This is a real human thing, y'all. Like, seriously, like, when you're going for a job interview, I've actually, because of my quote unquote assertive and extrovert nature, I have actually been on more than one interview where I made the interviewer nervous. Can you believe that? Like, I've actually had the interviewer say, "Oh my God, you make me nervous. I don't know what I'm supposed to ask next. What gosh, what do you think I should ask?" I've actually had this happen to me on an interview. This is true story. And I'll be like, why do I want to work here? Good. Yes, that's a good one. Why do you want to work here? That has actually happened to me. Like, I still think that is hilarious. Like, you can believe it, right? Calvin says he can believe it. I'm serious. Like, it's just bugged out. I mean, like, I understand that I'm a little boisterous, but at the end of the day, I'm 5'2". Like, I'm not that, I don't know. I'm not that overwhelming as a person. Like, if you see me, Deron, what is wrong with you? What do you mean? So, yeah, like, I'm not that overwhelming as a person. And I've actually heard that before. I've actually asked, like, my guy friends, like, why don't men approach me in the street? I mean, I think I'm halfway decent looking, and I've heard this more than once from people who don't know each other. By the way, my mama always said, if you hear the same thing more than once from people who don't know each other, it's probably true. So I've heard more than once from people who don't know each other that I am an intimidating person. And I think I honestly think that's amazing to me. I'm like, I'm 5'2", 5'6" if I put heels on. Oh my gosh. Wait, you can't say that on an interview, Deron. Okay. Deron says, he's like, if the interviewer asks him, why does he want to work here? He'd be like, yo, I'm broke, bitch. You can't say that on an interview. Well, maybe you can. Maybe it'll be an interviewer somewhere that'll appreciate that. They'll appreciate your honesty. Although the way that I can see it going is, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you for coming, Mr. Deron. And you'll hear from us, maybe never. So, exactly. That's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. Let me tell you, I was raised by, and my mom will probably kill me for saying this, but I was raised by a couple of black nationalists, right? Who were always preaching about, what we as African Americans or black people, what we need to do and what we don't need to do. So, for example, I grew up not eating pork. I did not taste pork for the first time till I was early 30s. Now I'm telling you my age, Lord. And they would always preach about how the black man and the black woman can't get anywhere in this country unless they own their own businesses. And funny enough, as much as I kind of disagreed with some of their more militant views, that one I agreed with. I mean, and that's not even based on color. There's no freedom like owning your own. You know what I mean? You don't have anybody standing over your shoulder. You don't have, somebody telling you when you need to be there and when you need to not be there. Although, as a person who has ran her own businesses, plural, I will tell you and Deron, you can tell me if I'm telling the truth here. There is no 9 to 5 when you own your own business. If you want to make that money, for whatever business you're into, you wake up when that phone rings. Right? You wake up, you ready to go whenever, let me try one of these effects. I like these effects. There we go. You're on when your customers or your clients are on. So owning your own business is very rewarding, but it can be kind of stressful, because, there is no 9 to 5. You do what you do so you can make your money. But that's the cool part about it too, is that you're responsible for your own pay. Nobody can tell you how much you get paid. You tell you how much you get paid, right? See, Deron, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What do? You know what? You should call me. In these next couple of minutes. I'm gonna around 8:30 which is in 2 minutes. I want you to give me a call, you guys, and tell me about whether you're an introvert or an extrovert and how it affects how you feel when you first meet people. Hey, that's what it is. That's another cool thing about owning your own, right? Is that you can actually enjoy what you do. Most of us that have day jobs, we do it because we need the money, And in case in point, I still have my day job. I just got off a few hours ago. I still have my day job, and I don't exactly love what I do, but it's likable. I get paid Kind of nice. So I will keep that until this takes off and everybody knows who D-Laz is. But like I said, today, oh, okay, Duran. That's okay. Maybe another day. I'm going to try to do this at least 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So you'll have plenty of chances to call in, and we will be talking. You already know how I roll. We will be talking about a lot of deep subjects. I got the wheels in my brain. Introvert, that's a new one. So see, my introverts don't even want to call me. Boo hoo hoo. Oh my gosh. Well, look, if you do want to call me, the number is 1-833-4D-LAZ. That's easy to remember because it's my name. 1-833-4D-LAZ. If you guys still got an old ass flip phone and it's you still got long distance charges, this is toll free. So you want to dial 1-833-4D-LAZ, 1-833-433-3529. So I want to hear from you guys. It is 8:30. I'm turning the phones on so you guys could give me a call. We're talking about introverts versus extroverts. You don't even necessarily have to talk about that. You can honestly just call me to say what's up. This is my introductory show. So, if you just want to call me up and introduce yourself, or if you have a question for me, there's a lot of things that I might not, or I might have forgot to divulge about myself. One of the main things, okay, I call Stone Mountain, Georgia home, right? But I am originally born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Don't ask me what part of Brooklyn I'm from because I honestly lived all over Brooklyn, and I promise you I never know how to answer that question. I always sound like when people ask me what part of Brooklyn I'm from, I honestly sound like I'm making it up. I'd be like, Prospect Heights, Crown Heights, Flatbush, Brownsville, East New York. I never know how to answer the question because I literally have lived all over Brooklyn. Don't ask, but I have. Okay. And other places I've lived in Baltimore, Maryland. Not for too long, but enough that I know that the locals call it Baltimore, like with a D. And they can tell that you're not from Baltimore if you pronounce it any other way. Yeah, Park Slope, what's up? Yeah. I never lived in Park Slope, but where I lived wasn't far from Park Slope, so we used to always walk over to Park Slope. I actually grew up around the corner from Grand Army Plaza, so we could literally walk down to Park Slope. We used to go to that little movie theater over there. We used to always go to the Key Food. I think that was up on 7th Avenue. So yeah. So look at that. Got things in common. All right, Duran, Park Slope. But I've lived in Baltimore, Maryland. I've lived in Los Angeles, California for a very short time as well. It's funny because when I came back from LA, I started getting asked if I was from the West Coast. I guess I must have picked up their accent. And it's funny because, I've always felt like you can only pick up accents that you like. So I think I really like the way the West Coast speaks. Like, I like the way they overpronounce R's, like, party. See, I can't do it now. It's been years since I've been to LA, but, I love the West Coast. In fact, I considered, moving there for a bit. The only thing that kept me was looking at how much it costs to live there. Might as well move back to New York for all that. Wow, yeah, it's time for me to go home too. Duran, I don't even want to tell you how long it's been since I've been home. It's been a minute. Let's put it this way. The last time I've been home, they were just about to open up Barclays. The Barclays, the center, the thing. Like, literally, they opened it up the day after I left. That's how long it's been since I've been home. I've been here in the Atlanta metro area for, I'm losing track. I think I just made 12 years. But with that said, I haven't picked up their accent here, and I think it's because I don't like it. For the most part, I try to speak perfectly enunciated English, although in certain words I say I really have to make a concerted effort to pronounce R's. R. Even to say the letter R is hard. Like usually I'm like, you know, or anything that has an R in it. And the only reason why I even bothered to try to enunciate my R's is because, maybe about my second or third year living here, I worked at, I'll just tell you, I worked at Best Buy. And I was a cashier / customer service person. And a guy gets on my line, and I forget what he buys, but he buys a bunch of stuff. And I'm ringing it up, and I'm talking to him and stuff. And then his total came to $444.44. But what I said was, your total is $44. Wait, no, I'm sorry. It was $44.44. So I remember saying, your total is $44.44. He said, what? I said, your total is $44.44. He said, say it again. I said, $44.44. What? He says, you sound like Elmer Fudd. And that day, I was like, embarrassed but ticked off at the same time. I was like, you know what? I don't sound like freaking Elmer Fudd. And then I realized that I really did not pronounce my R's. And I think that's something that's serious unique to people in parts of the New England area, you know, New York, New Jersey, goodness, what else? Boston. Boston completely obliterates the R, though. You know, New Yorkers, we make our R's into W's, you know. So, for example, my 44, there was a W in there, you know. Whereas if you ever spoke to somebody from Boston, they completely obliterate the R. It's just like 45. I can't even do it, you know. So that's another thing about introductions. Not just introducing yourself to people, but also what do you get when people introduce themselves to you? Now, see, I was reading the other day. I think my bestie was showing me something that they said something. I think I was reading something. I think it was on like Instagram or whatever. But it was basically saying that that Sagittarians. I don't know how much you guys are into astrology, but I do believe in a lot of it. But they were saying that Sagittarians, within the first few seconds of meeting you, by the tone of your voice and by the way your facial features are, we can tell everything about you within those few seconds. And I so agreed with that. Because, and I didn't know that was a Sagittarian thing. I honestly just thought it was a Dion thing. I remember when I was a kid, and even all the way up through high school, I remember I could tell whether or not to take a teacher seriously within the first few seconds of them speaking, whether or not they were like, you know, they were a teacher that I had to worry about, you know. And so now I'm the same way as an adult. You know, when I meet somebody, within the first couple of seconds of meeting them, I can tell whether they're, back to our subject, whether they're introvert or extrovert. I can tell, you know, whether they're the type of person that I can take seriously. And when I say take seriously, I mean, are they a person that I can actually, you know, have a serious conversation with, an intelligent conversation with? If there's somebody who I would even want to get to know further, other than that simple introduction. I can tell so many things about someone within the first couple of seconds of talking to them. And I really don't know if that's a me thing or if that's a Sagittarius thing. My bestie says that's definitely a Sag thing. She would know. I'll leave that out. Well, she has a couple of important Sagittarians in her life, me included. So, you know, how do you feel when people introduce themselves to you? Can you tell a lot from them from the first time you talk to them? You know? I wonder what people think of me when they first meet me. I've heard, in case you haven't noticed, I have a very childlike, high-pitched voice. And I've heard within the first few minutes of people meeting me, they thought I was a total airhead. Of course they didn't admit this to me until they got to know me. But for the most part, I call it dumb blonde syndrome, except mine is a dumb voice. So I've heard, because I'm so, what's the word? I don't want to say giggly. That's not the word I'm looking for. But bubbly, that's a word. Because I'm so bubbly and I'm always laughing and giggling and I have this little childlike voice, that people have thought that I was like a bubblehead when they met me. They thought I was stupid. And then we would get into a conversation about the Israel-Palestine conflict, or, or the EPA person, that guy, Pruitt, whatever his name is, and then it'd be like, wow, you actually have like a brain. And so I always think to myself, either I got to get better at my introductions, or I got to like change my voice or something so I sound more serious when people meet me. I'd be like, hi, my name is D. How you doing? Hello. Hey, T. That is my favorite. Well, I can't. Can I say that on the microphone? Because your mama gonna kill me. But that's my other favorite cousin. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. And you got to put up your information. My cousin has her own podcast. We are going to, if she puts up some information about that, I'll give you a little plug. But yeah, so I think I either gotta do something better with my voice when I introduce myself, or maybe I'll stop like smiling so much. Cause like, I think I give like all of my teeth. I think you're supposed to have 32. I might have 30 cause I'm missing like 2 teeth. Don't judge me. If anything, it makes me look cuter. So, anyways, yeah, when I first meet people, I'm smiley, I'm laughy. That's probably why I've been so great at customer service. Cause even if I don't like you, I think I can make you feel like I do. And that is the truth. Like, which doesn't work so well in dating. We're going to talk a lot about dating because I got some things to say about dating, boy. Whew. So you guys got to tell me what is aura. I thought that was a typo. You guys got to tell me what aura is. I have a couple of people up here talking about aura is everything. In first impression, what does that mean? Like aura, like my teeth? What that mean? That's like my teeth? Is that my teeth? The first intro before they speak. I don't understand. How do you introduce yourself before I speak? Oh, you mean like body language? Like the body language we were talking about earlier? Yay. Okay. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes to share the information. So it'll be like all fresh and stuff. But my cousin did, provide her podcast information. Speaking of which, she's on SoundCloud, and I told you guys, earlier, if you're just tuning in, I am on SoundCloud. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I don't even know how you listen to me on Twitter. That's weird. But whatever. I'm on Twitter. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to be able to share it to my iTunes. I don't know how long that takes. So like you guys know, this is my first episode. So I'm learning as I go along. I'm learning about, I'm learning about production, doing sound tests, sound checks on my voice and, the special effects. Okay, so listen, you guys, I just got the meaning of aura because I didn't know, like I said, people always think I'm like this really smart person. I'm only smart because I ask questions. So if I don't know something, I will tell you I don't know. I did not know what aura meant. So 2 people, on here, just mentioned to me, Aura is that first feeling, the first intro before they speak. My cousin T, she says, yeah, aura is everything in first impression. So I said, what the heck is aura? I've never heard that before. So, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. You guys let me know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Aura is the positive or negative energy that someone gives off when you meet them. And Bestie, Lay, she says it's similar to body language, which is funny because I talked about body language earlier. Uh, well, apparently with me, I give off the aura that I'm dumb. So I don't know. I gotta change my aura. I was hoping like getting dreadlocks, which you guys know that I have locks. I don't really call them dreadlocks. You know what, T? I don't really like calling them dreadlocks because if you people know, they were the term given by, the colonizers, for our hair being dreadful. So I usually call them locks. But I figured that was one of the things I could do, I threw away the weave. I got rid of the creamy crack, and I started growing myself some locks almost 8 years ago, thinking my hair should match who I am. So maybe part of the reason people always assume that, when I introduce myself, they assume that I'm a bubblehead or I'm stupid is because my hair looks stupid. Not to say that people with weaves hair looks stupid. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that I think along with the fact that I had the high-pitched voice and the really bubbly personality, along with all these crazy colored weaves that I used to keep in my hair, that they would assume, with the sum of all its parts, or the aura of just looking at me, right? That I would, that I was, stupid or not that intelligent or whatever. So I figured I'd grow some locks and people would look at me differently. I kind of get that vibe sometimes now, but for the most part, yeah, I've heard quite a few times that until people have gotten to know me, they always thought that I was an airhead. And I am a little, look, let's not let's not put the cart before the wagon. See, I'm really bad at knowing all of these little idioms. I'm gonna look up some idioms when we get off so I can get better at this. But when it comes to book smarts, I've always been like really cool with it. Don't math, not so much math. I'm not that. I'm the other side of the brain. But when it's come to like history, vocabulary, English, I've always been kind of a genius, when it comes to that. But when it comes to like matters of the heart and like I have some street smarts, don't get me wrong. I mean, I was raised in Brooklyn, but for the most part, I'm a genius in one way, and in other ways, I am a complete airhead when it comes to like, I am like, if you guys ever saw or read the book Waiting to Exhale, if you guys realize, I don't know if you guys realize, but those 4 women were supposed to represent the different parts of us that we play as women, in life, and Robin, if you guys remember Robin had this high powered job. She was, she was the top of her game and her company. But when it came to matters of the heart, she was stupid. Remember when dude, forget his name, but the guy that played Bubba in Forrest Gump, when he came to the house and her stuff went missing after she already found out he had a drug problem, she turned around and she asked her friend Savannah, she picks up the phone and she goes, "You think he's the one who stole my wallet?" Yeah, that's me. That's me in dating. Fortunately, that is me. See, now that I've divulged, this is what I'm talking about being an extrovert. You divulge way too much information when you just get to know people. I'm just getting to know you guys, and I'm letting you know that I'm a complete ditz when it comes to dating sometimes. I promise you. This also means that I can never date any of you guys that may be listening to this, because now you know I'm a ditz, and now you're going to try something. I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is, I'm kind of like Stephen Hawking, rest in peace. But I'm kind of like Stephen Hawking when it comes to like politics and English and vocabulary and editing and things like that. And when it comes to matters of the heart and certain things on the street, I'm kind of like, huh? I'm like that with slang, like new slang that comes out. I have to like Urban Dictionary it. I'm like, what does that mean? I remember when my homegirl called me up. She's still in Brooklyn, but she called me up, and this is a few years ago, but she kept saying hard body, son, hard body. And I wanted to tell her so bad, I don't know what that means. I literally had the Urban Dictionary. I was like, oh, hard body. That means like a lot, or like you feel really strongly about something. Got it. I'm like that with all slang. I promise you. My bestie could tell you. Like, there's so many times where I've been like, wait, what does that mean? I don't understand. So, and especially when it comes to slang here in the South, like I'm like, what, huh? What does that mean? Like, I put up something about it a couple of weeks ago, I think. I said, why do people in the South always say clean when they mean something that's, you know, like somebody cleans, I guess you could say somebody cleans up nice, I guess. But like clean means a nice car, or clean means like, you know, they're dressed really nice, you know. And I was like, the first time somebody said I look clean, you know, I was like ready to go off. I was like, wait, what was I? Was I dirty before? You just never told me? Was I funky all this time? And you ain't say nothing to me, and now I'm clean, and now you telling me I'm clean? What does that mean? You know? So, so, you know, when it comes to slang, I'm a ditz. Like, honestly, I have to see people use the slang a ton of times and kind of use context clues. And this is the time, by the way, I want to take a pause and go over my cousin's SoundCloud, because I know it's going to be the you know what. But she is Cool Kids, spelled with a K. So I'm going to go over it. It's KOOLKIDDS. So she's Cool Kids Radio on SoundCloud. I want you guys to tune in. I'm very proud of her. She's doing her thing up in college. She's going to finish, unlike her cousin. It's okay. I still got really cool stories from my first year of college. So but she's going so far, and I'm so proud of her. You go, T. I don't know if you guys want me to say like your actual name, so that's why I've been like referring to you by nicknames or by just your first name. I mean, if you're comfortable enough and you let me know, it's okay. I'll, you know, shout you all the way out. But look at that. I can honestly look, I didn't get any calls, but that's because this is my first go round, and I'm pretty sure, I'm going to do a lot more promoting. So I didn't really do but so much promoting today. I will say it was a combination between nerves and not knowing if I was actually going to do it, because I was still on my procrastination bit, you know. But I'm going to do some more promoting. I want you guys to share, go ahead and share this. You guys got the link, obviously, if you are tuning in. So I want you guys to go ahead and share the link. I will be doing this every Monday through Friday, unless I fall ill or something, but I doubt that. Eventually we're going to, like I said, we're going to do this like any live format show. I'm going to have guest speakers. Eventually I'm going to have giveaways. Eventually, this is going to be fun. And, sometimes I might get you a little mad. You might get me a little mad, but at the end of the day, it's all love. Like I said, didn't get any calls today, but one thing that I proved to myself: one, I can do it. And two, I can talk for an hour without stopping. Can you believe that? Wow. And don't look, the people that know me, don't say nothing smart, because I could talk for a whole hour without stopping. I'm pretty sure you guys knew that, and y'all are probably going to say something smart behind that. But I'm glad that I got the first time nerves out the way. You know, I had like a little internal battle, like what was my first episode going to be about? How was I going to speak? Was I going to speak in my perfectly enunciated English, or was I going to give y'all all of Brooklyn? You know what I'm saying, son? But I decided to go the professional way. You know, I want to be able to eventually get sponsors who can actually understand what I am saying. Perfectly enunciated English, darling. I don't know if you guys got to hear my cool intro when I came in. It was kind of corny, because I'm corny. If you know me, you know I'm corny. But I'm going to play it again as an outro. Yes, I can actually talk for a whole hour about introductions of no less. Imagine if I'm talking about something steamy, which we are going to talk about. Like I said, we're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about love and dating, especially that. We're going to talk about the black woman, the black man. I'm going to tell y'all some shit about yourselves y'all not going to want to hear. Or maybe you do want to hear it, you know. I have some very strong beliefs, and you guys are going to get to know that. Shoot, people are sharing already. Go me. I'm over here whopping in my chair. I'm doing a whop. You youngins don't remember what the whop mean. What the whop is. These kids today, they don't dance. They agree with the music. They walk backwards. They eat imaginary food. They hit folks. That's dancing today. Dancing when I was growing up, we were sweating by the time we were finished. These kids do these little cutesy dances now, and then be renaming. We're gonna have a whole episode about that, renaming dances. Remember when they started doing the what was that? The Harlem Shake. And I was like, oh shoot, we're gonna see these kids do the Harlem Shake again. And it was these crazy videos of people, standing still and then moving. And I was like, this is not the Harlem Shake. And then they tried to bring back the Running Man. And that's not the Running Man. I don't know what that was. If that was the Running Man, excuse my language, but that is a retarded Running Man. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to talk about the younger generation, but you guys also eat Tide Pods and sniff condoms. So, I don't know if you guys really have too much of a leg to stand on. And it's crazy because I always promised myself I'd never be that kind of, older person. Like I wasn't going to get old and then be like, oh my God, these kids today. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, these kids today, man. So, we got 4 minutes left to the hour. We are coming to a close. I've had a really good time talking to you guys just about, introductions and being an extrovert versus being an introvert. Obviously, most of you guys are introverts because you guys didn't ring my 1-800. Well, it's actually a 1833 number, but it's a toll-free number. But hopefully when we get into bigger and better subjects and those that you guys are going to definitely want to put your 2 cents in on, I will hear from you. I have really had a good time today. And like I said, eventually we'll get sponsors and, so you get to know at least the people in your area who are providing good things. I'm not going to say I'm always going to stay this way, but I am going to definitely try to promote Black businesses. We need the promotion. Right. My bestie just says fast skipping man. That's what the new Running Man is supposed to be. Yeah, this looks like a fast skip. But had a wonderful time today. I promise you this is what I was born to do. I can't wait to get into better subjects. As soon as I decide what subject we're going to talk about tomorrow, I will let you know via my Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, apparently, that I have now, and YouTube. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing my RSS feeds with iTunes and Spotify. So you guys keep a lookout for that. I'm already on iTunes as Lazarus Effect ATL. So you'll be able to look for me there. Don't do it yet because this podcast has not yet finished and I have not yet submitted it. But we're gonna keep it all love. Like I said, don't feel like you need to censor yourself when you call in. Like I said, we are not confined by FCC rules. You could drop a couple of F-bombs if that's what you want to say. Just don't get disrespectful with it, because again, I'm just gonna tell you, I will hang up on you. I will. I'm not even going to front about that. Like that's just real. I will hang up on you and then, laugh about hanging up on you or something. Or I'll probably do it really cool. Like how we used to do it back in the day. We'd be like, yo, you want to speak to my man Tone? Who? dial tone, dude. But we don't have no tone anymore, so now I got to come up with something else to say. Want to speak to the end button? I don't know. But I am so glad that I finally am doing something that I want to do. And that's what I want to end today's podcast note on. If you have something that you want to do, don't wait for anybody else to tell you it's okay. Don't wait for anybody else to give you the go ahead. Don't keep putting yourself aside for other people. Now, I'm telling you this, you guys, this advice, as well as I've had to tell myself. So this is not just, me just speaking, looking out on you from some soapbox. This is my first podcast, something I have been talking about doing for the longest time. And I kept putting it aside for other people to work on their projects, or putting it aside because I was too nervous or whatever. At this point, I have proven to you, if I could do it, you could do it. And on that note, I am going to end our podcast by playing my outro. It's been wonderful talking to you guys. Thank you for tuning in to The Lazarus Effect. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. The Lazarus Effect. You've reached The Lazarus Effect. Do not adjust your speakers. You're on with your host, D-Laz. D-Laz.